Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sitting here with one of my good friends that I've known for 2 years now. And last year, we made a promise that we were going to do a year in review every year in person down in my little studio. And last year in review, when we captured 2020 in a 2-hour long podcast, neither of us had dove this deep into crypto. I was an investor for multiple years, but I didn't have a brand, and I didn't even know what NFTs were, to be honest. And Sina was just now getting into crypto. I had continually tried to advise him to get into it, and you can go back through our history of podcasts from 2020.
Yeah, you were my guy.
About trying to get him into crypto, and that's when he used to call me a Bitcoin maxi when I was not even anything close to a Bitcoin maxi.
You were, bro.
I always advise people when they first got into it to buy Bitcoin, read the white paper, and then go from there. But
you're the most healthy Bitcoin investor I've ever met because you have no toxicity. Like, you'll throw bags on Bitcoin, but you won't talk about it like that. You'll talk about NFTs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I still hold. I still hold my Bitcoin bags. I set a personal goal for myself when I first got into crypto in 2017, and I said I will never go below this amount of Bitcoin in my entire life. And so once it got to that point,
When?
This was probably 2018 after I lost everything in an ICO. I said, this is how much Bitcoin I want to attain. Once I get there, I'm not touching it for a long, long time. And I haven't touched that since. And so then this year,
take profits.
This year I'd been playing with all the Dogecoin that I made in the beginning of the year, which we'll talk about. But after this long introduction, I'm sitting here with Sina Pahlevan. He is the host of the Talk2Much Podcast.
Great pronunciation.
And the vice president at NFT Stadium. It took me a few times to get that pronunciation right from our... What
a Persian accent too. What the hell was that?
How many podcasts have we recorded in person together between my show and your show? It has to be at least
episode 12 of Guest List. Hold on. Episode 12 of Guest List. I can even name it right now. Episode 12 of Guest List, 2020 review. Episode 3
on
of
your show.
Talk2Much. Episode 8.
The politics one.
Talk2Much.
We did the Clubhouse one.
26. Talk2Much. That's 5. This is our 6th one.
6. Wow.
That's crazy.
We're making it. Mom, we made it. So we could start off and take this many, many directions, but just for those who aren't familiar with you, even though those who listen to my show are familiar with you, or vice versa, who aren't familiar with me, from all of your new fans, tell us a little bit about Talk2Much and the growth that you've seen from our last time speaking. I think it was December 28th, 2020. So it's almost a year to today.
What did I say on that episode about? Do you remember what did I make a bold prediction about my show? But because, bro, did you see NFTs coming in last year's episode when we were sitting here, December 22nd? I remember it was on the 22nd.
I didn't discover what NFTs were. I knew what CryptoKitties were in 2017 because I remember that it brought down the network, but I didn't really pay attention to it. Yeah, because of how congested the network was. And I knew what rare papes were because I'd seen the Matt Fury documentary towards the end of I believe it was the end of 2020 or beginning of 2021. And it's just like crypto. You get introduced to a lot of these concepts, but sometimes it doesn't click immediately. And for me, it didn't really click until I figured out, or I came across hash masks, which was in beginning of January this year. I think it was because like Kobe had bought like 400 of them or something. And I was like, what are these little, I don't know. They look like Egyptian, African type masks. Art. And then it kind of clicked for me. And then it wasn't until the Mooncat rediscovery that really clicked with me because vintage digital artifacts. I owned an antique store in real life. For me, that was like the aha moment. And then once you start diving into NFTs, there's no turning back. It's like the crypto rabbit hole within the rabbit hole.
Did you? Okay. What?
But stop here. Tell us a little bit about podcast.
Okay. Sorry, I was gonna ask you a funny question, but so my podcast, I didn't see NFTs coming when we were sitting here last year, and at that point last year, I remember I came here, I felt a little bit motivated, but I was just like, what, I know I want to be great, but like my show will not be great as a Web 2 marketing show. But like I was optimistic on this show, and I honestly think the universe or something was looking out for me, and I think you too when NFTs came, because I also think that both of us are now in a position to reach our full potential because of NFTs and how early we are and our abilities mixed with all of that. So for my show, I interview impactful figures across the NFT industry. I'm going to tell you exactly what happened. It happened in one night. I think I had seen you a week prior or something. So you had known me up until about February, March. This is the time frame.
And then you disappeared for a while.
Did I?
Because you were just so in the NFT rabbit hole that I hadn't talked to you for months.
Well, we're gonna get in. We're probably gonna get into some personal shit later on. So I remember that now. But I remember this kid, Nick Stender, my former roommate from 6 years ago in college, came over, and I just had a talk with him. I said, "So how are you? Have you been the last 6 years?" And he shows me his portfolio. He made $200,000, and in my head, I was just like, "What the hell? $200K? That's a lot of money." And so we were talking. I'm so impressed. So, and I had been investing in crypto for a year, because of you and a couple other people. But when he said a word, he's like, "Yo, by the way," because we were just talking crypto. He's like, "Have you heard of this new term?" I was like, "What is it?" He's like, "This is called NFTs." Bro, when he said that to me, that word, I didn't know what they were. Like, everything clicked. I was just like, that's it. I just looked at him, I was like, bro, I have no idea what the fuck that means. But that's it. Like, it was a light bulb moment. And the next day, that night he left at 9 p.m. I got anxious and kicked him out. Sorry, Nick. But I started DMing hella people. I'm like, bro, I can never, I have to just run this direction. And that's when I got the VP of business development at BlockFi, which wasn't that big of a guess, but to have a BlockFi exec on my show was a good start. And from then on, bro, I literally said, I got to go full force. And I think, but similar thing happened to you is when I saw you, I think it was at the first Las Vegas meetup after my disappearance. Bro, I didn't disappear, this fucker. but when I saw you again, even you were gung-ho about NFTs. You were, I'm the Mooncats guy. I'm this. I have this land. I have this. I have 200 fucking thousand Mooncats. I think you're the largest Mooncat.
I was. I've downsized a little bit, but I've kind of, as I've learned more about NFTs and a lot of the synchronicities between like the traditional art market and the trading cards and stuff like that, I implemented a strategy over the summer and towards the end where I was downsizing and then raring up. So I was basically selling off like the floor cats and then trading up for more rare ones. And unfortunately and fortunate that the rare ones, they can retain their value, but they're much more illiquid,
harder to sell,
and they're harder to sell. But if you're on the higher end of whatever collection or art market it is in NFTs, there's only a handful of people who even hold these. So there's less paper hands. And so it's just harder to sell them. So you know that your value there is stored. It's okay. You're never going to sell below that. And you only have to rely on a handful of people to also have that same belief, where when you're trading floors, they're much more liquid and you get a different type of investor.
Are you talking about new floors? Like
just floors for any NFT collection?
But for Mooncats, when you said you were
for Mooncats specifically,
you started
so
at 0.8 floor.
At one point I had like almost 130 cats. I think now I'm down to like 70 something. But I have sized up in terms of rarity for a lot of them. But that's just like the massive collection. I would like to come down a little bit more as I've been learning more about the space, because it was definitely a Mooncat Maxi when I first got into it.
You were. But you've diversified.
I've diversified and I've learned. And also my whole brand was built off of Mooncats. And so I'm trying to diversify out of that as well, which takes some time. Also, because I'm synonymous as like the Vegas entrepreneur guy outside of the crypto world. So it's like this weird like culmination or cauldron.
Aren't you trying to bridge them together though?
Yeah, and we'll talk about that now with Nativ and how that came to be. But with NFTs, it just to me made a lot of sense. Digital ownership, but also representing ownership over real world assets when you're tokenizing real world assets.
What I like about NFTs, people are like, bro, first of all, most people have this industry messed up. I look at it, I told you this at David's house. I think you're kind of like with me on this, even though I don't know if you're going to outright say it, but like I like the corporate side. I think you guys at Nativ are kind of, you guys have that corporate vibe to it. Like you're dealing with this company you just told me off camera. Mm-hmm. And I feel like when people ask me like, why say, I don't like this art or I like this art. When people talk about the art behind NFTs, I always say, well, do you buy a table? I mean, you do buy a table because it looks good, but what's the first thing you look at when you buy a table? I'm saying you buy a table to place stuff on it, right?
And for the utility.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I've comparing, you don't look at a table, first thing you see is the quality over the utility. So I view an NFT as like the opposite of an asset, a physical asset. And I think most people are I don't hate on people that are here for the art, the WAGMI guys, the GM guy. I love the art, the culture. I'm just saying this is going to expand. That's all. It's going to expand to the point where, I just feel like I'm with that, but I think I look at it from a more realistic, I'm trying to look at it from a realistic standpoint. And just like you said too, like what I mean by that is I'm looking into the future at where this industry is going to go. Play to earn. We'll talk about that later. But like that's how I'm viewing the NFT space. Kind of like you and Native are getting big consulting gigs, doing like realistic stuff that pushes, kind of like Vayner NFT, that pushes the space forward, not just release a project and be gung-ho. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we've thought about token projects, but we're not capable of doing that. And we don't feel like we have the large enough community to withstand a kind of project that we would introduce into the market. So it all come in time. I have a lot of people in Vegas that ask, when's Jakecoin? When's all these different things coming? And I'm like, I'm not going to release something that I don't feel like I could give 100% commitment to it. But on the native side, yeah, it has not been an easy road. For those who don't know what Nativ Research is, it's basically it's had so many forms in the matter of 6 months. We originally created it so that we could collaborate with UNLV, the Office of Economic Development, and Caesars Entertainment as a limited liability company represented as a research firm, that we can host blockchain meetups at the university and take donations and different things like that, grants and funding.
Great meetup. I went to one.
That
was a great meetup. That was my favorite
fun.
meetup.
And now it's over 7 months that we've been doing it. It's led us to so many cool opportunities, so many. But we came with the same idea, and we happened to coincidentally launch the native meetups with Las Vegas NFT, two different brands. Open NFT is the one who has Las Vegas NFT. We took the more professional route, but our goal originally has always been to accelerate crypto adoption in Las Vegas, and we'll do it by whatever means we have to do to get there. So we partner with UNLV to get some instant credibility, and then to just start that conversation with a lot of these institutions and corporations in Vegas who've never been incentivized to innovate because they've just have had the power, right? The Strip has been there. You have 3 companies who run 95% of the Strip between Wynn, Caesars Entertainment, and which is Eldorado, and MGM. They own the majority of the Strip, and they're not incentivized to innovate because they own everything.
I'm not gonna lie, I do like, if you're talking about companies on the Strip releasing NFT projects specifically, like that is
our thought.
That's juicy to me.
Our thought in the beginning was that eventually everyone's going to need a crypto strategy, and now it's everybody's going to need an NFT strategy. So
maybe they go
so
hand in hand.
A lot of these corporations and big institutions in Las Vegas, they're going to turn to somebody locally for advisement. And now we are working with MGM as well. Nothing signed, but we've also spoken with like the Gaming Commission and the Gaming Institute and a bunch of chambers, and now the city of Las Vegas has come to us and talked about helping steer direction to lead Las Vegas to become an NFT hub. And a lot of these conversations, I'm sure you've learned this with NFT Stadium as well, they move very slow. They do not move at the speed of what crypto does. And NFT just scales even much faster. I've never seen a technology scale so fast with adoption. It's a movement. It's so many things. NFTs are really like open to interpretation. I like to call them gamified social arenas. Some people call them tokenized internet culture.
I want to touch on something you said real quick. That's something weird to say. I'm a guest. But you said something interesting. What would you say? You said a couple interesting things. You said they move slowly. I'll touch on what you said on that after. But what would you say was the hardest thing about starting Nativ Research, and what would you say has been the most fulfilling thing? Maybe they are one and one.
Most fulfilling is seeing so many people find a home in the community, and then seeing a lot of...
What do you mean by that? Go in depth. Like, what do you mean by that?
Vegas specifically, and I know this just is kind of also across the country. The crypto people are very siloed. No, it's a very internet native endeavor, right? If you own a crypto company, you're generally working remote. Most of your employees or your team members live in different countries, different states. So you don't have any sort of physical interaction. And a lot of times crypto likes to think that we could just get away with no physical interaction. But
that's an advantage you guys have.
The meetups can put that like human touch and component to whatever you're building. And what was cool was seeing Eternal Royals launch, and they had a successful drop.
Was that the one we were at NFT NYC? Was that Royal Society of Players?
Yeah, Eternal Royals. It was just an art project, but the team who dropped that, they launched, I think it was like 9,000 NFTs at a 0.08 drop, sold out. The 2 or 3 people who were on the team all met at our meetups. Like, it was just so cool to see stuff like that happen.
The Las Vegas NFT meetups?
It was at the Native one, yeah.
I want to go to those then. I want to go.
They're fun. And now they're professional. We've had like US Bank.
Can I confess something to you? Because I'm not a pussy. I feel like I get a little bit nervous because I feel like I'm not liked, which I understand at the Native, but I feel like I'm misunderstood too. Like I feel like I would like to, like, I like, meaning what you said, like the 2 meetups I went to, like a lot of them I didn't have time to, but like I wanted to go to more because I felt very good. Like I felt after the bar one, after a couple more, just talking about NFTs with that many people, you know, I didn't really judge that. I didn't judge anybody. I was just like,
it almost gives you goosebumps because the internet is so faceless, especially when the most of the people you interact with on the internet, especially in the crypto world, are just like NFTs and avatars that you don't know their true identity. So it almost has this sense of like truism and like loyalty. When you meet somebody in person, you get to talk about NFTs and just really extrapolate on certain ideas that you've been harboring in your mind for so long.
It's another person just like you that's thinking about the same shit you're thinking. Because there's very few of us right now in the world. A lot of people, like you said, look at us as weirdos, or no one looks at me as, I mean, people might look at me as a weirdo, but no one, like, you know what I'm trying to say is we're early. There's skewed opinions on this. So I think it's crazy. Like even yesterday, like the cool cats put a follow train. It's easy people are just so receiving. And like, if you're in a project, like you could connect with 10,000 people just like yourself, like that. You know what I mean? That's why people don't understand, like building a brand, whatever you're doing, attaching a PFP, one of these big PFPs to it. That's smart.
I think we are moving out of the primitive version of the PFP, because now you see the PFPs are adding play to earn games, or like Mooncats they're not PFPs, but like on-chain wearables or some sort of new extension. And so I believe a lot of those 2021 projects that are going to succeed, or the PFP ones
that are continuing to innovate,
are the ones that are continuing to innovate. For example, like apes are definitely like the historically significant collection out of 2021.
You can get an ape. You can
I'll be very honest about my opinion to the 2021 stuff. Is like I cornered myself in this like historical significant section because I find a lot of interest in it, that I really just didn't look into a lot of the newer stuff. And I said that whichever ones end up succeeding, I'll pay the premium to do, which I don't have a problem doing that. I still want to see, I
could throw 5 million.
I still want to see a true crypto bear market to see what happens to NFTs, especially I'm still very hesitant, especially if ETH continues to trend upwards and starts reaching $7,000, $8,000, $9,000. What happens to a lot of these NFT projects?
Our cats, both Mooncats and Cool.
Yeah, but Mooncats are already so low that I know that they'll do fine. But some things, like you see this happen with CryptoPunks and apes, is that once it reaches a certain level, then it starts getting denominated in dollars, is where like there's kind of like this artificial dollar ceiling.
I do agree with that. Here's my one. That's scary because I've noticed that, but we're so like, there's such few amount of people in the space that I think we have a little bit more time to hold your bags. Like what I mean by that is, even if ETH were to hit 9,000 people, the amount of people about to rush into the space, it might still be enough to be denominated in ETH. You know what I'm trying to say?
It's also looking past just like the true degenerate nature of crypto, where people, even if ETH is $10,000, people will probably still start pricing it in ETH. But then it becomes more of a social flex. And then it's like, okay, NFTs, I put a tweet about this the other day, that NFTs do more than just scaling technology. They scale like your social aptitude and likeness. And they're like they're a social flex, digital Rolex, whatever you want to call it.
When Twitter rolls out NFT verification and, people are posting pictures of gold watches and cars, and they see, their peers click on our profile photos, verified, bought $50,000, $100,000 assets, the game will be different.
It is, yeah. And I've had that same thought for a while. That's one of the reasons why people believe Jack was outed or quit at Twitter, is because he wanted to go Bitcoin only, and then the board members of Twitter wanted to move into Web3, which makes more sense, honestly.
I think that why is he trying to make them compete though? Like even I'm starting to warm up to Bitcoin.
Yeah,
I am.
Jack is a true decentralized maxi. You could say he also has a lot of information that none of us know.
Yeah.
And so you can still FUD him, you can meme him, you could do whatever you want. But I haven't been in the boardrooms with Jack. I don't have the amount of money that he does and the network that he does. He has come out.
He has Twitter.
Yeah, he has come out and gone against Web3 a lot about the VCs and different things, which I'm sure there's a lot of truth in what he's saying. But I still don't know. This is why I think it's best to just hold Bitcoin and ETH. And Crypto Cobain talks about this. A lot of the big Twitter accounts, crypto accounts talk about this as well. They're two different things, and so you should hold both of them. And so that's why I continue to hold both. And I've also been in the market long enough to know that whenever Bitcoin does go on a run, everything else is just going to go straight to the floor.
I will also say this though. I only hold ETH because I agree with everything you said. That's why I just said I'm warming up to Bitcoin, but I only hold ETH because ETH can serve as a Bitcoin replacement for Bitcoin's use case is just a simple store of value. ETH could be that too. The problem is every time I hold some fucking ETH in my account, I want to spend it. So
yeah, there is
it's
that
spending money, not saving.
There's that complete like dissociation of reality where when I've been doing this as jokes. And I know a lot of people have, where you go to like a real world event. I went to the Broncos Raiders game the other day, and
did the Broncos win?
No.
Okay, go on.
No, they did not. And then I put 0.1 ETH, or like when I went to Colorado earlier this year and hung out with NFT Machine, I spent like 0.3 ETH on the entire trip. Like,
you just it denominates.
It's that complete disassociation. But it's like when you go, I still have this issue when I go to the grocery store and things are $5, $10 apart, and I'm like, why am I spending my money on this? Like
0.0002.
Yeah, it's the gamification that we all grew up on, and it's eventually going to make its way into the real world. It's going to take much longer, but that's what we're trying to do at Native, is to be that bridge in between, because there's always crypto's trying to disintermediate the middlemen of the middlemen, or I should say in the PC world, the middle people who are trying to siphon extra funds away from the community. We're trying to be the middle person who can connect the real world and those who want to learn more, the executives who have a lot of power, into the crypto world and creating products and doing a lot of this like IRL digital branding creation. It's going to take a lot of time, and we go back and forth with everything. But I do believe that NFTs are going to find a home within Las Vegas, and I do think Las Vegas is going to be an NFT hub.
I do too. What I was going to say is I want to comment on a couple things. I'm really quickly, I view, and I'm going to forget about the last three things I'm going to talk about, but I view like how you were about the historical significance. It's why I like talking NFTs with you, because we're like a yin and yang. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I don't have your bags, but I do like as I said, I'm very, very focused on the current NFT projects, because like I like the look, the feel. I recognize the fact that there's more risk and that's a safer investment. I'm very aware of that these could falter. I just view like teams like Pixel Vault, Artifact, Cool Cats, Apes as like surefire ones. I get that they might not be, or Doodles.
I like Cool Cats. I think Doodles are up and coming.
Well, Doodles,
I almost buy.
Shit. I can't say. Doodles are a media company. They're not going to be an NFT project. They don't want to. They're laughing because Evan on my show said that like people think we're an NFT project. Like, we're not releasing no companions, no V2 doodles, nothing. No, we're a media company. Just watch. We're the next Warner Bros. That's what they want to be. So I'm curious how a lot of these projects are going to turn into something we don't even like. You're going to look back on 2021 and say it started out like that.
Mm-hmm. At that, those who are innovating in this space or being the pioneers are realizing that it's just a token. And
you're saying dropping a token?
Like an NFT is literally, it's just a token. And it's not necessarily always just an image on a token. Now it can be a WAV file on a token. It can be a story or a narrative. And as I've learned through the historical NFT space, when you go back to the counterparty assets, they say that the value is the token and not the image, because on counterparty, you could actually change the image whenever you want and nobody will know.
You're saying
there's a lot of these counterparty NFTs like Rare Pepes or Spells of Genesis, Bitcoins, whichever ones you find there, you could change the image on the token.
For your Rare Pepe, someone could?
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I would agree with that.
So then it's like, what exactly?
You're saying the specific hash number behind the token, behind the image that makes it this specific token, the token standard, is what makes the value of the NFT, not the art on the front end.
Yeah, because the art can always be changed. And then once I start diving into namecoin assets and like Twitter eggs and the people who hold those, and realizing that Namecoin, first altcoin worked on by Satoshi Nakamoto, they're domain registrations. And so they're very similar to like the primitive ENS tokens.
Satoshi Nakamoto, bro.
Yeah, I went through Bitcoin Talk and started reading all of his stuff. Back then it was called BitDNS.
Did you hear Lewis got a job at Bitcoin Magazine?
Yeah.
Now we have a plug there.
Congrats, Lewis.
If we ever need, I said this to Lewis. I was like, Lewis, I needed a hookup at Bitcoin Magazine if we ever need to do something in there. I always look at this like, and I remember two of the things I want to comment on, but I always look as I grow older, because this year, for those of you that don't know, I declared 2 years ago Jake my rival in the car outside of Zenleaf dispensary. But as I grow older, I realized that NFT NYC was a turning point for me. But I had been thinking about this before that. It's not about competing so much. I just I want to compete with others. I just don't care anymore. Like, I'm just so, and I'm sure you agree, you're just so focused on native. It's not really, it doesn't matter about proving a point to someone else anymore. It's like you see your own greatness, like you're trying to get native, and what you have in front of you is not an easy task. To comment on one of the things I want to comment on, I have noticed that right now I'm trying to find George Chanos said this. He said when he was younger, he was a bulldog. He was just hard to be, he was just about it. And I feel like that too. In the corporate world, I get annoyed at how slow it moves. That's the one thing I notice is, we'll get back to you next week. We'll do this. No, get back to me tomorrow. Talk to them and let's, I kind of feel you on everything.
Yeah, but that's because the corporate world is a zero-sum game. There's only one president. There's only two vice presidents.
You have to move very carefully. One little mistake could fuck up your whole company, especially how speculative and new the space is. I'm very aware. I just carry that fire with me, where it's like, every day when I'm on project, my client, Team Devour, whether it's something got done or not. What, is something wrong?
No, just make sure there's recording still.
Oh, okay. Did you get new cameras from last year?
No, these are the same.
Oh, okay.
I just, every 30 minutes, I'm terrified that the cameras are going to stop recording for some reason.
Can you tell from here?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a red button.
What I was going to say is every day, whether there's an update or not, I update them in the morning. To get the energy there, just that message, just that energy. So I guess I'm a little inexperienced, because I made it a commitment when I signed my contract with NFT Stadium to enter the corporate business world with my own flavor. A big influence on my life, I can't believe I'm saying it, was Young Jeezy had 2 tattoos that said corporate thug. In 2006, I watched his music video, Go Get It. And I don't know why that made an impact on me, but I want to do corporate business with my own flavor. I want to bring, people look down on business for being emotional. Like, emotions are bad in business, first of all. But passion is what I'm saying. People expect you to be black and white and not have a poker face in meetings. Whereas I'm starting to realize every time I've just not been nervous and just talked passionately, the people fuck with me, But when I'm black and white and I play, yes, sure, it's weird. But
all of that corporate traditionalism is out the window in the digital
It's a sport,
world.
though. Isn't it a sport to you?
Business is a sport, and that's that's how capitalism thrives.
The ultimate sport.
But the world of business is changing. And I think we actually talked about this on the 2020 year review, that we're moving into this like very centric creative economy. And it's gonna coincide with the developer ecosystem, and the majority of us are going
the tech ecosystem.
Yeah, and the majority of us are going to be our own walking brands. But on top of that, now I've come to realize that all of our walking brands also have existing communities, and those existing communities are part of multiple communities. And this is what like NFT collections showed me, is that NFTs have the ability to scale social capital much faster than any other type of social capital I've ever seen. The first form of social capital, I guess you could say, is the movie scene, the like Hollywood movie scene. You're on TV, people like you. Fame, right, is just like an abundance of social capital. But now you can scale social capital with an NFT drop, and as you mentioned earlier, ape follow ape, cool cat follow cool cat, whatever the hashtag or meme is. You can build
in the Discord,
Discords. You just build this brand. You become famous in your own existing community, and then if you become famous or if you become the guy for Mooncats or Toads or whichever collection you're doing, then you take that and then you go onto Twitter, which is basically a broadcasting platform for social capital. And then you start.
It's a proof of work platform for social capital.
Yeah, you start communicating with all of the different thought leaders. And okay, I haven't said this publicly yet, but since over the last 5 months, 5 months. I've been recording a vlog ever since that first conversation I had with Noah from Christie's when they were interested in the Mooncat collection.
A vlog?
I started recording a vlog. I've been doing it every day. Recently, not as much every day. Just documenting my NFT experience from like potentially selling at Christie's, then Sotheby's ended up coming anywhere. Then ArtNet was about to happen, and they pulled it. No, I'm gonna put this in a movie. Yeah, once I sell at Christie's, that'll be probably the like,
this man has his story laid out.
That'll be like the last hurrah, and then I can put it all together. But there's some very interesting things in the vlog that surface, and it shows how fast NFTs can really change your life. I sent that message to Noah publicly, got a lot of retweets, started talking with Noah, then the whole When Christie's meme started happening. And then Sotheby's came out of nowhere.
Oh, so this came before the Sotheby's.
Yeah. So Sotheby's reached out to me. They DM'd me. And then in the matter of like 2 weeks, I was like selling at Sotheby's, and my Twitter account went from 2,000 followers to 5,000 followers, and started talking with people like Farouk and Blau and all these other like Crypto Dog, and all these people started following me and talking with me.
I saw you hug Farouk and shake him up at NFT.
Yeah, so what's up to him? Yeah, I'd been talking with him on social media since Sotheby's, because we met in the Twitter Spaces that he hosted, and so we ended up finally getting to meet him and talk with him. But now I have this like abundance of social capital, and it's like, what do I do now? Because I started creating Mooncat videos. I realized we talked about this right beforehand. One of my original ideas or thesis behind NFT collection specifically was that every NFT community is going to have their own reporter of some sort.
Yeah.
And I believed that Mooncats were going to be one of the winners of the historical NFT space. And so I said, if I could become the leader of Mooncats, who has 25,000.
You've become.
Yeah, and that's what it's become.
Actually, we can't say that publicly, because I'm sure you have good relations with the dev team.
Yeah, I actually have like a private channel with Ponderware to help them grow, and it's become a collaborative idea. I don't work for them; they don't work for me, but we work with each other. We work with each other, and so now it was kind of a similar thing that I saw happening with CryptoPunks, where a bunch of these people who have CryptoPunks they didn't necessarily work with Larva Labs, but they were building their brand through CryptoPunks, and then building and going off to do anything that they wanted. And we see this happening with apes now, where people are building their brand through apes, and then they start building coffee and the Jenkins Vault and all of these other different projects that stemmed from being a leader in that community. I wanted to apply that same type of philosophy to Mooncats. So I started creating these tutorial videos, since it's very confusing, valuation system to it because it's a community-driven valuation rather than a rarity percentage-driven one, which is what drives CryptoPunks and Bored Apes and a lot of the normal generative kind of projects. Although CryptoPunks aren't generative.
Can I ask you something real quickly? Because you said something. You say hella shit, and I forget what I had like 3 points. So I want to touch on something. Do you feel about the abundance of social capital? Do you feel like restless, like hungry, like not restless, like in a bad way? Are you like, now that you got, you've kind of, okay, let's knock on wood. This is going to be a bold statement, but from when we're talking about yourself, I'm not saying that you're for sure going to be one of a huge person, but like it's at this point kind of confirmed in your head, right? You've achieved enough in your own accomplishments to the point where you know, okay, I'm going to be big time.
As long as I continue pushing forward, and I don't.
But have you proven that to yourself? Is what I'm asking.
I think so.
Okay.
I've mentioned before. I first discovered Ethereum in 2016. I didn't end up buying Ethereum until early 2017. And I sat around investing, trying to learn as much as I could in the crypto space, waiting for an opportunity to present itself to where I could build a brand or a business in crypto. Back in 2017, outside of the things that I was doing in the real world, I didn't want to work for a crypto company. I wanted to build my own product.
Interesting.
But the tech didn't really exist. Ethereum was very primitive. There was no DeFi. There was no NFTs, social tokens. None of those things existed. A bunch of the layer ones were popping off. It was ICO white papers. So it was like really the only thing that I could find if I wasn't a technical dev, which I'm not, was to go work for somebody. And I don't want to work for anybody. So I sat around waiting for a good opportunity. And then the Mooncats thing popped up and it clicked. And that's when I just dove in immediately. And you go through my tweets and stuff like that back then to show, like, I put a tweet and I said, I'm going to really go heavily invested into Mooncats. I want to try to insert myself in the community, learn about NFTs, and see where this goes. And now it's led to these crazy opportunities, talking with billion-dollar companies and NDAs and consulting gigs, and talking with the Gaming Commission of Nevada about crypto, which no one's ever done before. And now I'm going to do educational seminars with them. And that's all stems from, it's like you know the meme
Gaming?
The Gaming Commission. I spoke with them. Yes,
we have. We're very tight in. We're all would do is, this is my one area. Unfortunately, my area where I work in is 100% gaming. Unfortunately for me,
the Nevada Gaming Regulatory Commission.
Like our client is PokerGo, the stream the World Series of Poker. That's going to be debuting. We're Phil Ivey, all the poker players. Like I'm in contact with them. That is my boss. Sold BetWorks.
No, I'm talking about the regulatory body.
We're building
the commission.
Our team has been in contact. My chief strategy officer and my boss and my other boss with people for our projects. We want to create some sort of gamified gambling collections. But as you may know, there are so many loopholes to jump through when
there's so many barriers. Yeah,
that make it almost impossible.
So yeah, we're at Native. We're creating private executive workshops for them. The person that we'd spoke with on the commission told us that, I think she's on the control board, not the commission, which are pretty close to the same thing. She hadn't spoken with anyone about crypto. It's on their mind. They just don't. They don't know how to go about it. A lot of
they're the people that tax you or that oversee any gaming shit.
They're the approval and denial of different products. Yeah. Eventually, with Native, one of our kind of long-term goals is to create native gaming with alternative gaming that coincides with crypto and the metaverse and all these different things. But we're playing the massive long game here.
As you should. That's the only way to survive.
Mm-hmm. And
there's too many ideas you have in your head. You have to go one-on-one.
Yeah. And this comes to the social capital thing, where there's so many directions you could go in crypto, specifically NFTs, because there's less than 1 million people even participating in the space. It's like, what is the right way? And we don't know. But I think the majority of the directions, as long as you just move somewhere in some direction, is the right choice.
Dude, I'm telling you, everybody, like you said it off camera, it's play to earn. I really believe it. Like the combination of these unique tokens with an ERC20 or like an abundance of actual financial capital tied in with game incentives to these NFTs creates real life game theory. Like for example, have you heard of Wolf Game? Yeah, you for sure have. I didn't give a fuck. It's sad because I actually almost minted one. I was actually about to mint a wolf. and it pressed mint, and my site wouldn't work, and I was just like, whatever. Thing went off. But that type of project, while I'm not a fan, not that I'm not a fan, I'm not in it. But that's the type of that gives users a choice. What do I do? Do I stake? Do I burn? Or however the game was played. I think that everything in life is going to start to move towards gamification. And as you said, you saw what happened with Axie Infinity. For not financial advice, but you play to earn, you said it best, is the direction that's probably next. Next year, for everybody watching, be on the lookout for big play to earn projects. Just like you said, you want to buy an NFT in each play to earn project.
I think the play to earn overlays is one of the big trends for next year. I even was tweeting about this over the summer. We see now with Ape Token that's going to come out. And
I'm excited. Are you going to buy some of that? I'm getting the.
I'll probably long it just because I know everyone else is going to long it. I don't know how long. It depends on what actually happens. It's obviously going to be on Uniswap. Our centralized exchanges are already picking it up.
It's going to be a big token, bro. I feel like it will over time if the apes continue to, think about it this way. You said it best. If you're going to talk about the epitome of social capital, I feel like the apes are more social capital than.
Yeah, they're a brand.
Yeah.
They're a brand more than a product itself. They're a crypto brand moving to create products where a lot of other projects are crypto products trying to create a brand.
Yeah. Because they're leveraging their brand to build the game, whereas other companies are come out with their product and then grow the brand. Mm-hmm. What do you think's better? Interesting, huh?
It is, yeah. So when you see the CryptoPunks route, it was the product first, which was just the primitive art display, and then it built the brand afterwards. Right now, if you hold a CryptoPunk, everyone's like, "Oh my god, social cloud, whatever."
They're down big.
Bored Apes, opposite route, community first, brand. And what Bored Apes did a really fine job of was having different community members build their own brands outside of the existing community, which therefore reinforces the Bored Ape brand itself.
I'm doing that with my Cool Cats. You're doing that with Moon. I think it's about the individual though.
It is. It's the community. This is an issue with fighting the Mooncat bags. And I try to tell the community this a lot, is that in order for the community to become reinforced and stronger, yes, we have the underlying historical value that exists there. First generative art project on Ethereum, first cats, whatever else, first accolades that you want to present to them. The individual community members need to go off and build their own brands, whether you just become a Twitter influencer and a collector, or you become somebody who creates something like Native in consultation, work with other people. Whatever it is, everyone needs to go off and do something. And the community of Mooncats is very highly driven by devs. I would say probably 50%, or probably pretty close to 50% of those who collect Mooncats have some sort of smart contract or front-end Web3 development experience.
Which is a good thing.
Which is a great thing, but usually the downside is that you lack some sort of marketing skills. And so I think that's... there's a lot of confusion. There's a lot of components to it, but I'm just saying that they're probably on the opposite end of the spectrum of the brand. So Mooncats have a product, first on-chain accessories and wearables. Now you have their Mooncat purse and MNS and all these different things that they keep building, which then will reinforce the brand over time. They're just a very long play. With CryptoPunks, it took them 4 years to get to where they are today. So
do you see yourself committed to Mooncats, not exclusively, but as your primary NFT collection as you further your career? Or do you see yourself ever moving away from that?
I'll probably never trade Mr. Moo, which is the first named NFT on ETH, at least for now, until I'm presented with new information. I haven't been able to find that yet, because ENS is a domain, it's not a name. And for the clarification, ENS was created before CryptoPunks.
Really? Brantley corrected me because I said domain. He said name. It's not a domain. It's a name.
Well, him and I actually talked on Twitter about this, and it's one of those semantic conversations.
Why? So what's your viewpoint on it?
The semantics was that when you create a domain, the name has to be minted into the NFT, whereas with Mooncats, you assign the name after the NFT's already been created. And a domain, you can't create it without the name.
And what did he say?
He said, yeah, I agree. He said it's a semantic conversation. The tweets are there. He didn't say specifically semantics, but it's basically it depends who you're talking to.
I agree with you though. That's an interesting point. Like that's an NFT, not a name of an NFT.
Yeah, you're naming the NFT, whereas
with the Mooncat.
Yeah, so Mooncat, Mr. Moo was named after the token had been created, but in order to create a domain, the token has to coincide with the name itself.
So, like for me, and I want to ask you this because this is where I'm at mentally. Like now I kind of want to gravitate toward our mental state and our mental recap of, because everybody knows about our crypto journeys. But going back to what I asked you, do you feel going to 2022, are you like really like, are you hungrier? Let me ask you this. Are you hungrier than you were this time last year at this table? Do you feel, or do you feel like you have different plans?
I would say the hunger and appetite is still there, but it's turned a little bit more into a professionalism. I think we've become a little bit more grounded in the approach that I want to go. It's a little bit more refined. When I first got into NFTs, right, got into Mooncats and started buying Mooncats, and then it was Mooncat Maxi, and then eventually it was like, no, that's a bad idea. Then I started buying other historical NFTs. Then it was like historical NFT Maxi. And then it was like, nope, that's definitely the wrong approach. I should start looking into other things and other models. And then this is the same time I was hosting the Guest List podcast. And then I was like, hey, I should use these actual skills and content creation.
You still host the Guest List podcast?
Yeah, I've sized it down a little bit to focus a little bit more on crypto. But again, I can't get rid of Guest List because if I want to merge Vegas and crypto, those are both.
You have so many Vegas entrepreneurs in your back pocket from your Guest List.
It's led me to a lot of these different ideas.
You have like a use case for anything in life through the Guest List. Like, oh, I need this. Oh, I need that. I need a fucking psychic.
It presents. I've literally had, I've had like billionaires sit in here with me, like, and talk. Like Fertitta family was here. Like,
you had the Fertitta family on your show?
I had one of the daughters.
Oh, that was a great pickup.
She came by herself, so I was like, that's cool. That just shows my brand that they feel comfortable with me. I had Blake Wynn on, who's Steve Wynn's
son.
Nephew. He runs an influencer marketing company. He's given me a lot of opportunity as well. So and he reached out to me. Like he just came across me.
Do you know any other Vegas podcasters? Do they have your hit list? You had George Chanos on too.
They did have George. Yeah, George is a very forward-thinking guy. Unfortunately, couldn't come over here because it was like peak COVID. But he was a cool 2-hour conversation to have. And it just continues to build. But I also coincidentally started Crypto Natives podcast to go hand in hand with
and you're gonna merge them
with natives, and they're slowly merging over time. I just have to familiarize my existing audience and the existing Vegas community that these two things are gonna happen, and so you have to kind of like go very slow with it, and also trying to figure out the crossroads of my own brand. But yeah, it's a little bit more of a professionalism. There's some scaling components that I have to inject into my own brand. Whether it's I have my intern. You're amazing.
Love you.
That helps me. Yeah, right. Love you. that helps me with the video components to everything. But now it's like with the business and the brand. How else?
If you go big time, you better take the intern with you.
Yeah.
Don't ditch the intern. The intern was your first intern.
No, now she gets paid, but.
Yeah. Oh, really? Do you pay her out of pocket?
Now I do because the semester ended, but
what's that mean?
I have the interns through the UNLV programs, so they're free during the semester.
Do you like paying out of pocket?
I don't mind it. Yeah, if they put the work in.
I don't notice it. I don't mind it.
No, they earned it, and so I'll gladly. Well, it'll be they, but I'll gladly pay out of pocket if I think you're performing. And so that's not that big of an issue to me. But yeah, to circle it all back, I do believe that there's a little bit more precision now. It was like chaos, and I think the NFT market's going to mature and go into these next evolutions, which are probably play to earn, music, photography, and then something that exists within the metaverse, and then maybe tokenizing real world assets. But what about you? Should bring it back to you. You are the guest of the show.
This is a different show.
It's our conversation.
Yeah.
Where do you see? Well, first we could just dissect like 2020 for yourself.
2021, you mean?
Or 2021? Excuse me. Like, what are the the biggest like growth periods that you saw for yourself? And then is there a moment throughout 2021 where you realized that you were on the right track and that this was no more just like a spray and pray method? This was like, this is the more niche or specialized.
Yeah. Like sure of your product type shit?
Sure. Yeah.
Probably that night when I heard about NFTs, to answer the last part of that question, I was 100% sure, because I had always known, like believed in myself, but I just didn't feel it wasn't the product. 2 + 2 was not 4 last year in 2020. It was just like, this doesn't feel right. NFTs right off the bat felt right. Growth wise, the part that I felt, that's it. That I feel like I'm still trying to find that. I guess I've gotten real, like, just I've accepted who I am in the sense of I've gotten really good at controlling my emotions to the point where, like, I know how to use them too. Like, even if it's hard to get me to react at this point. Like, I'll react during work, by the way. If something's done not right, like, you'll see me get mean. But like to get defensive and emotional, like how I used to, like when I was younger, when you knew me, I think my growth this year was when I realized, like, I guess I just super, super became obsessed with what I do. Kind of like you. Like, I don't really care. As I said earlier, my growth this year was when I stopped trying to prove a point to everybody that I'm, this great person. And I kind of just realized, like, you really don't have to say it. You just got to keep put your head down and work. And like, whether they want to admit it or not, like, they're going to realize it. Everybody, you know what I mean? Like, just how people look at you as the Vegas entrepreneur guy. They didn't look at you as that because you said it. They looked at you as that because, or you constantly repeated it. They looked at you at that because you put out 120. What are you at?
I think you're 171.
You're at 171?
And then there's another like 10 for the crypto podcast.
So you're at 180.
So like, yeah, closing on 200.
That's a proof of work. So for me, my biggest growth moment this year was when I realized, I don't need to compete with anybody else. Like, I'm really, like, I really do believe at this point, okay, like, in terms of what confirmed, like what I asked you earlier, like what confirmed I'm going to be, like, to me, big time, is when I went up to Gary V at NFT NYC and I said, Gary, I don't know if you, and he's like, Sina. When he said that, like, I looked at him, I said, this is my last time I'm going to fanboy on him. And the night you and I went out, I didn't get to see him. I saw him for a bit and he was so busy, he walked by me. And I took that so disrespectfully. Like, I said to myself, I will never fanboy again. And I kind of reached this point where I stopped competing with anybody. I literally don't care what anybody else does. And I just focus on myself. And it's easy for me now to root for others. Like, once you kind of stop trying to prove a point to everybody else, it's now easy for me to root for others. It's easy for me to, I don't feel anymore like, I don't feel like when I say I'm an elite competitor, that means I'm competing to be better than myself yesterday. That was my growth moment, is when I realized, like, I don't have to, like, prove to everybody that I'm going to be this great person. Is you just got to just get to that level.
Competing with yourself at the end of the day.
And honestly, for me, what I was going to touch on something you said before you asked me that question, it is about the process. That was actually something I wanted to add to that. I used to always want to be like, I want to break through. I want to break out. I have that motivation. I'm so hungry right now. I'm restless, on edge, because I feel like I could do it. But at the same time, I'm more focused on getting better, like improving my set, improving my quality, improving my, as I said, my ability to speak on camera, to get wild, to get out of my comfort zone, because I have not been myself at all on my show. Like, I'm sorry, none of you guys know me. Like, you have not seen the real Sina ever. And that's the thing that bothers me, is like, I had to admit this to myself. I don't know who I am yet, because I don't know what character to play on.
And your community gets to grow with you, though. That's the cool part.
Again, that's we'll get to that in a sec for our goals for 2022. That is one of my goals, is to align myself with the community like you did. Because I noticed the power, like, you can't do this alone in this world, and have a community behind your product is much more viable and efficient. But for me, it's not just about, that's all great. But if you, and this is going to sound corny, but to anybody watching, like, I realize this is, if you just stay focused, stay busy, and just focus on the process. To me, I'm excited about getting better. I'm not excited about the reward. The reward does nothing for me. The reward does not make me, but me posting my 68 episodes has gotten me to this level. Not when I get famous, the fame, the riches, the women, that's not going to be what makes me. That's not going to be my validation. My validation is going to be the 120, 200, 300, however long it takes, plus episodes I put in. That is the process of what people need to. I always see people focusing on cars. You see a lot of these Web2 people, like cars, money, flexing, women. Mind you, I do love the women. But besides the women, because women are beautiful creatures, better to work with than men, by the way. You can agree with that. But besides that, like, to me, none of that shit matter. To me, what really determines you is what I look for a person. What really shows me you're a real great is when I see someone that's more focused on the process and they're just getting the rewards nonchalantly. They're just like, how do I get better? How do I get this better? So that's one thing I can say to recap my answer is staying in my lane, not competing with anybody else. Because at the end of the day, I can't stop another motherfucker from winning. Just like another motherfucker's not going to stop me from winning, for sure. So there's no point in even competing with others. Might as well, even if you don't even if I don't like someone, I'll look at them and say, what use cases do they have? They're an NFT kind of. What use cases do they have? Same with me. What can I offer them? We don't have to like each other, but I can help you. You can help me.
Going on and diving a little bit deeper into Talk2Much Podcast, because we haven't spoken on it yet. How do you go about vetting guests, and were there any frustrating moments along this NFT journey, which is new for all of us, where you almost gave up because you couldn't find the adequate guest for your perception of where the show would go?
Experience. Then I just recognize. Before I answer that question, have you ever been egoed? Yes or no? By a guest when you reached out to ask someone. Someone didn't respond to you.
Yeah, I have. Not so much in crypto as when I was reaching out to large figures for the Guest List podcast.
You're saying the Guest List podcast.
More so because I do feel that the crypto space is more egoless than egocentric than the traditional world is.
Okay, so to answer that question for you is kind of tying off what you just said is I've never once considered giving up, but I've gotten to points where I was just like, this sucks. I have to post this because I just knew, as I said, I've always known I was going to be great. I'm meant to be great because I've just, for some reason, I just think differently. So giving up was never an option, but I know the exact feeling you're just describing is what others don't know is when you, like, for example, need a guest or something, you're DMing these people and knows or them egoing you. It wasn't giving up, but it was more so to a point. There's been points where I'm just like, okay, this is kind of this is the ask. This is the part you need to go through to get a reward, so to speak. So I kind of just always kept a positive mindset because at the end of the day, Jake, we're in a position we have podcasts, bro. Other people don't have podcasts. These people could say no to us, could ego us, but we have a live running weekly show. Not much to complain about. You have the opportunity to record. You have the balls. God blessed, the universe blessed you with the balls to fucking do this. So but I understand where I did get discouraged at many points, especially because my stupid ass, you're way more punctual than me. So you're way better at planning your guests because I'll be honest with you, half this year was Sunday night. No one knows that.
I've been in those moments, so I have.
Where you're rushing
to figure it out. And then you begin to think, am I diluting the product because I'm rushing an interview and haven't been able to conduct the proper amount of research going into the conversation?
And I want to answer the first question and then I want to ask you based off the research thing. You just said the research thing. I hope I don't forget that. But how do I vet them? And this is an interesting question because a lot of people reach out to me to be on the show, and I get annoyed internally, but I shouldn't be annoyed. But it's just it's more so I get annoyed because they just asked to be on the show. It's it's kind of like a trade. You're asking for something of mine, but you're not offering anything in return. Are you not, do you think you're the special gung-ho, but you have 235 followers? That's great if you're inventing the next sun, but I need more attention on my show. You know what I mean? I can't publicize that. So how do I vet people I'm very just like you, in tune with the market. I'm on Twitter and I just go for big fish and big trends. Sometimes I don't even go for trends though. One thing I realized, my most success comes from my own personal likes. This Wednesday is my favorite episode ever. Most people would laugh at this because I've had bigger guests, but Miss Avery, president of Vayner NFT. She's going to be on my show. That's my role model. 6,000 followers, not that big, but that is my role model. And
you said that you pointed her out when we were at NFT NYC.
Bro, I look up to her, that woman. Like, she is like what Hillary Clinton should have been. Like the good-hearted, like savage, but like good-hearted and just get shit done. Like the way her and Gary move. You and I were sitting there, like we were at Gary's speech, and then before Gary went on, dude suddenly just her tall ass just doom, and Gary just moving like business people. So I guess how vetting people is simply things that I think are cool within the NFT space, like Star Atlas, a big Solana play to earn game. I'm not gonna go after, I would like the cool cats, by the way. I met Kalana in an elevator, but he's just not responding. I don't think he thinks I'm big enough, which is fair.
And you have to also realize a lot of these, we'll call them influencers or builders, their DMs are flooded. So you have to get their attention in a different way than just a direct message.
Yes.
Which I've had to do multiple times as well.
So you've DM'd someone, they haven't responded, and then you've done something else?
So, for example, even if they're following me, for example, I'm just going to use an example like Blau, right?
You had Blau on your show?
No, I haven't. I've DM'd him. He knows that he's busy. So the next method would be DM him brother-in-law. But
brother-in-law.
The next step, if somebody, or even like Farouk or somebody, right? If they're following me, I could DM them. I know they'll never see it. But if I DM them and then tweet at them because they follow me, it's in a different section on their mentions. They'll see it, and I could say, "Hey, check your DMs." Then they'll immediately go to the DM and see the question.
Oh, that's interesting. So you'll DM, then you'll send, "Hey, check your DMs."
Yeah, because if they're following you already, but they just like their DMs are flooded,
and all their DMs.
When you, I believe it's when you become a verified account, your mentions are separated from other verified accounts, followers, cool. Or people you follow, and then just like regular notifications or mentions.
We need to become verified one day.
Yeah.
Not need to. It's not like we need to. But
I've had some people explain to me how to get verified through the different accounts through Instagram.
But I've seen people smaller than us verified. Wow.
Yeah. So Instagram verification, you need 8 publications from I think like 5 or 6 different, or you need 8 articles from 5 or 6 different publications for Instagram.
About you.
About you, yeah.
What about Twitter?
Twitter, I believe there's also a follower count minimum, unless you're like a reporter or work for a publication or something like that. So there's like different, or unless you just know somebody.
Technically, you're a reporter.
Technically, yeah, it'll come. I'm not too worried. I do think that the Twitter verification or the Twitter NFT verification is probably going to go much further in terms of social clout and capital than like a blue verified centralized checkmark.
My main focus right now and going into 2022 is really there. I have a lot of them, but like I really want to get good on camera. I want to be an entertainer. I think I provide nothing but educational content, not the best educational content. I got to be honest. I need to find a way to be in the middle. Education, so I'm not like a fucking, the Full Send podcast or Impulsive, but I have some of that flavor. Because I do think my goal is get a community behind me. And this is only Talk2Much. As I said, I'm not going to lie to you. Talk2Much has slid down my priority list. But I've said this to myself recently, like, don't, just because you have a job now, like, focus in on this. Go 100% on everything. Like, this is dope. Talk2Much is still dope. I'm getting paid from it now. A small amount. It's the grass sponsorship, nothing big. But like still, I'm grateful for it. So my main goal is getting better on camera. That is my main goal for 2022. Getting better on camera and aligning myself with an esports team or a project. What mental goals, and I'm going to say mine after you. What are your I just did technically, but what are your mental goals for 2022 before we get into career goals at the end? We'll save career goals for the last topic.
I think the primary goal would probably be have some sort of uniformity in terms of where I see myself going. 2021 was about kind of a pray and spray. Now, as I mentioned before, a little bit more professionalism, a little more etiquette. And I would say even a little bit more hunger as well. It's kind of subsided a little bit over the last month and a half as I've kind of put
You did reach your goal from 22?
I did. I reached the majority of my goals.
There was one specific one that you told me. Can I share, or do you not want to share?
Was it the money one?
Yeah.
That one reached. Yeah. It depends on how you evaluate it. Do you consider seven figures in the bank, 7 figures in value?
We both know 7 figures.
Fungible. Like there's so many different ways.
It could be illiquid. It counts.
I did reach it. That was a goal I set actually when I was 16 in high school as a poor kid growing up, was to have 7 figures by the time.
Right?
7 figures by the time I turned 30. Turned 30 in February. Reached it, so it's satisfactory. Obviously the market fluctuates, and then I made different investments, which decreases the value because in NFTs it's perceived value, not actual asking price and floor price.
Can I ask you a little bit of a personal?
Sure.
Just because you have experience in a relationship right now, currently. Am I allowed to say that? Is that
Sure.
fine? We're not going to go too in, but do you feel like this is a topic a couple of my comrades and I have talked to? Do you feel like in a relationship you've been less on edge, less hungry, or do you feel like in a relationship, it depends on the partner can make you hungrier? What's your experience been? Not yours.
I would say the new relationships definitely taken some of the like ferocious hunger out of it. The like rabid, like you just want to channel all of your energy somewhere because now you have to dedicate it to a different person.
You gotta be soft.
But when you have that other person who's also as hungry as you in a different place, it helps you understand where you are. It's like having that extra person who wants to build with you. Granted, those all come with different challenging based off of relationship dynamics. But it's definitely helped me grow just from like my specific relationship. She's also an influencer, quote unquote influencer, YouTuber, whatever. So she's brought a lot of perspective, not from the crypto space, but in the content creation space on how to go about whatever I'm doing. And so then I've been introducing her different crypto ideas. And so
Did you put her on crypto?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You're her crypto sensei?
Crypto sensei for a lot of us out here.
You were my
well.
first crypto.
Yeah.
You were my Bitcoin sensei.
It's a lot. I think I've onboarded probably close to 50 to 100 people in Vegas alone.
Into crypto?
Into crypto, yeah. And I eventually talk about this a lot of social capital as a podcaster is basically a social investor. I spend my time with you. I put an episode out, give you the platform to speak on, tell your story, whatever. And then that social equity that I get at the end is redeemable sometime in the future for whatever it is. So I've begun using some of those favors in terms of
the way you put that.
Yeah, I've begun using some of those for favors like in other domains, friends who have consulting gigs, ask them about consultation advice, how do you structure contracts, friends who are influencers in the content world, getting guests on, asking them about how they go about creating their products. So it all is redeemable at some sort. So I think 2022, I want to formalize that a little bit better. My 4 pillars are Vegas, obviously entrepreneurship, crypto, and networking. And I've been trying to merge all 4 of those pillars.
Are you only allowed to have 4?
No, you can have more. Okay. I probably have a few more. I've been trying to merge those, and for a while it was really tough, especially in crypto where it tends to be an echo chamber of sorts, and introducing things that aren't in crypto sometimes faces some pushback because
can I come to the networking events with you?
Dude, yeah, they're open to everybody.
As I said, I feel a little bit unwelcome. I feel like Nick's,
I don't know
Swerve is like, I'm cool with him and you.
So there's 2. There's the native ones, and then there's the Las Vegas NFT ones. The Las Vegas NFTs thrown by Open NFT on Twitter. He has the Funk Zombie. He was a CryptoPunk holder. I think he sold it. Really cool. Really cool.
Did he sell it at the top? Because it was at 97 ETH, no?
Yeah, it was not the top. It was not the exact bottom either. But
would you have sold a CryptoPunk if you had one?
I want a CryptoPunk. I don't intend myself to sell it anytime soon. But at the end of the day, I say that with everything. And then like even when I bought the crypto egg, I was like, or the Twitter egg, I was like, I'm never gonna sell this. And then Artnet approached me about selling NFTs, and then we were about to sell it, and they.
How much was the offer on the crypto?
So I bought it for 25 ETH. The reserve price was 30 ETH. The reserve price was 30 ETH. So I was like really not trying to make like a massive amount. It was more for the attention and the publications, and the social capital. Like I said, NFT scale social capital the most. But ArtNet unfortunately backed out of Namecoin
Does Chris
assets
have
at the
any
very
NFTs?
end. Chris?
Yeah, is he in the NFT game, or is he strictly with
So Chris is my business partner at Native.
Yeah.
No, he brings the investment background. He's been investing since he was like 12.
Okay.
So he understands.
So he's been in deeper than you.
Yeah, he comes from traditional world. We're the same age though. So he provides a lot of insight into
He's 29.
Yeah, how to recognize investments and P&Ls and,
Is he older than
and
you?
evaluations. No, we're same age, 29. I think I might have him by a few months. But he also runs like one of the most successful real estate brokerages out here. They just had $500 million in real estate sales this year.
You're talking about Ryan Pineda's shit.
Yeah, they're partners together.
Yeah.
Chris's brother and Ryan Pineda.
Yeah.
And he has a lot of connections as well. So we've been a good team. Also, at the time when we were building Native and these meetups earlier in 2021, the pool was very low here, right? The last NFT meetup had like 300 people, but the first one in March had...
Your Native one?
No, the Las Vegas NFT meetup. The largest Native meetup, I believe, was about 90.
That's still big.
But we come more on the professional end. So we're getting people from like different UNLV sectors and bank representatives and Caesar representative and MGM representatives and startup founders. The NFT movement is more based off of the grassroots retail artist kind of sector. But we collab. A lot of the community is very similar. Those are just the two distinctions, and they weren't those distinctions didn't exist.
You're saying Las Vegas NFTs community is based around that.
It's more grassroots, yeah. But we didn't know those distinctions until you bootstrap the communities to figure out where are the strengths of the community, what is everyone most interested in. And it wasn't until about 4 or 5 months in that I realized, at least through the Native lens, that NFTs were much more suitable for Vegas specifically than crypto or Bitcoin adoption on the Strip, you could say, in the most sense, because the payment rails and payment channels have a lot of regulatory hurdles. It takes a lot further to get through. NFTs are a different class, and most things that exist in Vegas are non-fungible. The shows, the experiences, the large amount of live event ticketing that happens across the Strip.
If they were to integrate NFTs as a transactional tech through every transaction, Vegas would benefit more than 99% of cities.
And I talked with Blau about this as well on Twitter Spaces. Ooh. Blau, because he's from Vegas. For those that don't know, he also agreed that Vegas was probably primed to be the NFT hub, as a lot of the parallels within NFTs and crypto in Vegas. And he said he had that conversation multiple times before when he was going through his little NFT journey in 2018, 19. So it's going to take a while, but a goal for myself, and it was kind of forming as we're having this conversation, is that I just want to start bringing on more of the local NFT builders onto my podcast, just as the parallel as Pomp brings on a lot of the Bitcoin and finance guys in Miami onto his podcast.
Does he really?
Yeah, I mean, he has a business show now. It's much larger than that, but he talks with a lot of the DeFi guys and a lot of the bigger, larger builders. But he's bootstrapping that community, and the Guestless podcast and Crypto Natives podcast and your podcast, and there's a few now. Mojo has his own podcast, and there's multiple people out here who are building their own broadcasting platforms in Vegas that exist.
I'm leaving Vegas soon, so I'm not a Vegas.
Yeah. But still,
Vegas, yeah.
But still, and the amount of people who come out to Vegas.
I'm not leaving, by the way, but I'm moving. I'm gonna be traveling, staying in Vegas, but I'm gonna be traveling to other places.
And that's amazing. So one of my mindsets is that I want to bootstrap the community even further by introducing the ideas.
Talking about Native.
Yeah, just Vegas in general. You can even say the Guestless podcast, and show and really display this to the larger audience outside of Vegas that this community is legit. It's here to stay, and it's going to be the hub. And so that's one of my larger goals, outside of obviously investments, which everyone wants to do.
Do you go to? So you said earlier that these Vegas NFT meetups, because I am shy. That's really why. Like, It took me like 4 days to speak in that Discord. But Do you see? You said they were more grassroots. Number one, can you get fucked up? Like, do you go there with that mentality?
The Las Vegas NFT, yeah, they're fun. They're more open, less conventional. The native meetups, there's no drinking because it's at a UNLV property.
Yeah, I like that.
There's presentations. There's like we flew in. I'm gonna fuck up his name, so I'm not gonna say his name. But he was the creator of the Cornell Blockchain Association.
Oh, what?
One of the Ivy League schools flew him in here, and so now we have a lot of resources within the university, and they're getting on board City of Las Vegas, and so we're able to hopefully bring in larger names and a more professional setting, because you have to play by their rules if you want them to play by our rules. As much as crypto likes to disrupt everything, it still has to be both sides at some point. And so similar to like the Gemini approach with being regulated and regulatory is good. We work with regulators, blah, 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 New York Crypto Exchange. Similar thing with us with if we want gaming and we want crypto products inside the casinos and maybe even bring the Las Vegas Strip to the metaverse, we need to bring them in. We need to be very light with them, and we need to make them feel safe and understand the technology instead of just saying, rah, 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 we're going to destroy everything. It's just not how it works.
Yeah, I agree. But there's some point too. One thing I've noticed, if you're talking about integrating traditional businesses into the space and pushing the space forward, is that what you're referring to? As a consulting agency, as the position, is that what you're referring to in this context?
In the most generalized idea, yes.
Yes, I've noticed this though in general idea. Don't you think that a lot of these people outside of NFTs don't know anything about NFTs and are looking for an expert in a way?
That's one of the main thesis behind Nativ, is that locally, a lot of these traditional legacy companies are probably going to turn to somebody locally, at least in Vegas, for their NFT crypto expertise. And we're literally like one of the only companies out here that exist in that formality.
You might be. I can't think of another company.
There's a few. I mean, there's like CoinCloud. There's obviously you guys with.
Hold on. CoinCloud's a Bitcoin ATM.
They do more than that though, from discussions I've had.
Okay. We're a development agency for esports and gaming brands. We're not anything.
But crypto is very fluid though, where you can play multiple things at one time.
Like I'll be honest, I want Resorts World. That's just something I've been interested in as a client. My chief strategy officer doesn't care at all. My whole bosses don't care at all. They think I just think that since they branded themselves as a crypto hotel, releasing an NFT collection for them, maybe you could take this idea, because I don't think I'm going down that route, but releasing an NFT collection for them, and let's say as a token holder, get discounts on rooms, discounts at tables at clubs,
membership
shows,
rewards.
Exactly. Like the ultimate membership. That's why what you were saying earlier, the Strip itself has that's why kind of like I wish I had played a part in the local level a little bit more, is because I'm interested in that, like developing collections for the Strip. Unfortunately, I don't think that's where NFT Stadium's headed, but like I'm telling you right now, like Resorts World, Wynn, MGM,
the nightclubs, everything.
The nightclubs are part of the hotel though, right? Wouldn't you?
It depends.
Or you could release a collection for the nightclub specifically.
Yeah, well, an example I use often is we use Excess Nightclub for this example. Every ticket that you go to see the Chainsmokers at Excess, you get the NFT. And now if you go to Excess 5 times, then they drop you a Chainsmokers DJ booth ticket. And now you get to hang out. It can be, like I said, right? If you have all of it, so you can integrate all of these like very unique experiences into the Strip, which is going to happen. They're going to have to figure out how to do it. A bunch of these people have devs. Devs are not abundant, as we know.
Bro, there's such a big opportunity at the local level for that. Like,
there's a few.
Me, bro?
I had Mikey on JDM Labs. They're probably the largest dev team in Vegas.
I met Mikey. Studio. He's your roommate at NFT NYC.
Yeah.
He's the man.
Yeah, they kill it. We're working on him with a few things as well.
He is the man.
And he's
a dev team?
Yeah, JDM Labs. They have like, I think close to 10, 12 people now at this point.
Solidity and Rust?
Solidity, Rust, they could write anything. Yeah. And he's taught me a lot too about the technical side, as somebody who has very primitive technical knowledge. Understanding the concepts is easy for me, but going even deeper into
you've gotten good at the
understanding the explanations is, my thought always was an idea that Naval introduced a lot is that if you could be very, very good, if you could be in the top 80% of 3 to 5 different things, then you'll be irreplaceable. So, and then that other 20% is when you start outsourcing it. So if I can understand NFTs on the technical layer to the 80 percentile,
you're talking about the whole globe or within the community itself?
It depends. It depends on the context.
Yeah.
But for this example, if I can understand how NFTs work and function to the 80 percentile, all the way up to actually writing the code itself, and then I can outsource writing the code.
You've been a lot. Your tweets are good about the technical explanations. I think they're some of the best on Twitter. Like
Thank you.
You're really you explain it very professionally, but easy to understand.
I try to. The downside with that with Twitter is like shitposting gets the most engagement, which I hate.
I've realized that too.
It's annoying, but I'll play into the shitposting sometimes. But at the end of the day, it's just a broadcast channel for me. And I realize numbers do not matter at all.
Oh, I don't ever focus on
up into a point, even with like the guest list pod downloads, like I get about 200-300 downloads an episode from the audio download point of view. But the quality that comes with it, the people who are listening to your podcast, or the people who see your tweets but don't engage with it, or let's say somebody stumbles across your account that's pretty large, they're a multi-billion-dollar company or whatever, and they see your tweets and it resonates with them, even if it doesn't have the 5,000 likes or 100 likes or the 100,000 followers or whatever. Anything can resonate with anybody. It comes down to like their real world experience and interpretation of you. I think I used this example on the 2020 review, but I'll bring it back, is that purpose is how we view our journey, but success is how others interpret our journey. And so you never know how somebody interprets success. So I just continue going. And if you just go with it, if you just follow the path of purpose that you think is best for you, other people will eventually jump on, whether it's your community or business partner or anything like that. And so circling it all back to everything.
But that requires you to find yourself.
Yeah.
Know yourself.
I'm pretty sure I've found myself from a personal standpoint.
What do you mean by that?
I know what I like. I know what I'm good at. I know where my weaknesses are. I know where I have to outsource that. I know where I need help on. And now it's allocating, and I've allocated most of the resources, and I do believe 2022 is all about executing on those resources and pairing everything together and becoming a more cohesive and formal product over time. So I guess that we've been talking about that, like 2020 goals, 2022 goals for a little while, but
I'm only asking really quickly. Sorry, is as I said, I thought I found myself. I'm not saying you don't. I'm saying I don't know myself, because if I did, like, I wouldn't think too much about how to act on camera. You know, I feel like the moment I'll have found myself, that's my goal too. Is you're gonna see, if you're paying attention to my podcast, you're gonna see a lot more, abracious. I don't know the right word for it, but like very out the box. Like, I'm really gonna test myself, because I really want to not care. I don't give a fuck what people think, but I want to take it to the maximum level, like really not care. And I think I've honestly think I've gotten there. Like recently, I've realized, like, Sina, do you still care what these people think of you? Could you post a picture of your hairy chest on social media and not give a fuck? Don't do it, but could you do it? And I said to myself, yeah, I think I could.
That's good. So there also, you have to understand the distinction between finding yourself and reinventing yourself. You generally only find yourself once or twice, but we reinvent ourselves
multiple
dozens of times throughout our life. So I think understanding where you are in that journey as well. I've found myself, I know it took me 29 years, went through a lot of hurdles.
So you found yourself this year?
I'll be putting out a book at some point to talk about that.
You found yourself this year is what you said.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, probably towards the end of this year, and maybe not even fully completely there, but I know myself well enough to where I need to go. And then it's just I also reinvented myself this year, where I finally took that leap of faith and went completely crypto on my Twitter account. Before, it was just very general Vegas, talking about life kind of things. And then once I really dove into Mooncats, I said, okay, I'm making this commitment. I'm going 100% crypto on my Twitter account. And it proved to be like one of the best decisions of 2021. And
going all in. Betting on yourself.
Betting on it, yeah. And I keep my podcast more, or I keep the Instagram more to like podcast entrepreneur inspiration stuff. But understanding that and making that decision made me think I should have done it sooner, but also the opportunity wasn't there before. So basically found myself, knew what I wanted to do, and then reinvented myself through going all in onto crypto. And now it's continuing to act and execute on that social capital and movement that's been built.
I think I wish I could say the same thing. I still think I need to find myself. I have to admit that, I think I think we're on the same path though, in the sense of agreement, in the sense of we both kind of I kind of try and operate in a more professional way now. Again, do what the fuck I want, but in a professional way. But I kind of think that me this year, a lot of people hated on me when I went all in on crypto because I didn't know that much about crypto. They're like, how is he going to try and be a crypto guy? But one thing people didn't realize is NFTs were like introduced a different skill set. Like I'm a creative talent, that's really what my foundational skills are. So I think I want to find myself mentally. I want to be able to be comfortable. And as I said earlier, like for me, it's about getting better on camera. That's my main focus. I try not to think of like what I really want, what my ego wants. My ego wants fame. My ego wants a bunch of beautiful women. Their validation. That is a big motivating factor for me, is global validation of beautiful women. Like I'll put that in a book too. Fuck. But I do think that with that being said, like I've kind of stopped giving a fuck about thinking, not giving a fuck, because I do give a fuck about the rewards. Like I want your bags, I want to be able to spend 25 ETH on. That's my goal for this year, is to get $1 million, because my goal coming into this year was $100,000, but I didn't even believe it. I just threw it out there, and I blew that a little bit out the water. So for me, my goal this year, I'm just going to throw it out there, see if it works. $1 million in retained value. Let's see if it happens. But I don't care if it does. I don't care about the rewards. The only thing I truly care about, it's why I fought with my first co-host on my podcast, it's why I fought with everybody in my life, is just getting better. I just need to see constant getting better. So that's my thing, is get better and find myself. You know what I mean? And when I say find myself, is that I'm real. I don't give a fuck. But really, really, like when you post something, you know what mimetic desire is, right? Operating in a way, I know that's almost impossible, but operating without mimetic desire is kind of my mimetic desire, is doing something with the intentions of what someone else wants in mind. I want to operate in a way where I only focus on myself.
Before we get out of here, we got about five minutes left.
How long did we go this time?
Hour and a half, yeah.
Okay, good.
Predictions on 2022 within the NFT space or broader crypto. Is there anything that you are very certain on or have a high level of conviction?
Regarding me or NFTs?
NFTs, talking about crypto space, yeah. Oh. High conviction bets or ideas that you think are going to come true in 2022?
I don't know if companies will use NFT tech as transactional through every transaction like we were talking about earlier. I think that's 2023. But I will argue, my prediction is that the Oculus is going to surpass. This might be a little bit too short. Like, I was going to say the Oculus might surpass the top tier Nintendo gaming system on the market as most used. And people don't understand, that's a big, bold prediction, because Nintendo Wii, the Wii U are very used products. So that would mean that VR, if suddenly, like, maybe not everybody's on it, maybe only 1% of the world's on it, but now everybody knows about it. So that's my bold prediction, is the concept of the metaverse, because at the end of the day, for crypto, when you say like bold prediction for crypto, I think it should be rephrased bold prediction for metaverse. I just think everything that is the central figure to Web3 is a virtual realm. Is literally, this is the tokens are the finances, everything. So my bold prediction is that I would say 100% of all fucking smart corporations out there are going to have their heads towards the metaverse. I think that at this point this year, I'm going to go ahead and say this. If you want to get really into it, bro, I genuinely breaks my heart when people aren't into NFTs, because they don't understand. It just breaks my heart, bro. They don't understand what they're missing. They don't understand the harm they're doing to their families by not getting into this. Because it's not like you're just missing out on a big investment. It's like you're missing out on necessities. These are going to be not just big investments that get us bags. Like, you're going to need a profile picture to get a look your way. You're going to need this technology to transact and everything. So it's like, my heart is broken for people that just don't know what it is. So you said you on board at 50 to 100 people. I would love to start, really try and do that.
It's beautiful.
What's yours?
There's a few. Play to earn overlays on existing NFT collections. I think it's going to be pretty big.
Yeah, I don't. That was odd. I meant to say that's the number one.
I think that'll be a big trend. I don't think there will be as much utility within the tokens that will be promised. Although the
value, like the airdrop tokens, or
the value, I think will probably go berserk just because there's so much capital in the system, and people want to speculate. Music NFTs, I think, are going to really hit flight, just like art
they will
did.
When Royal launches. I don't think
Royal's live.
But has he gone through all the copyright? I know it's
he did. He has one song there. He just did a second auction one. Art Basel. I see people talking about NFT photography. I think that's going to be kind of like the one of one art where it's just always going to exist. Might catch some flight.
I'm not too big on that.
I don't think regulation is going to come down as heavy as people think. I agree with that. I think crypto is just so far ahead. It's just going to be either blank grandfathered into whatever the new idea is, or they're just going to keep it unregulated and just let it free.
I agree.
Outside of that, Coinbase NFT probably be pretty massive.
I think it'll surpass OpenSea.
I think it'll overtake OpenSea. I think as well.
People will laugh and be like, "Bro, you guys traded on OpenSea? Like you guys are OGs."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. I think OpenSea is going to be unbundled really hard.
What's that mean?
So basically, in just like the tech world, the way to create a good product is you either bundle a bunch of products and put it together, or you unbundle it. That's kind of like what Facebook has done, is it's bundled everything together.
They drop a token though before they go down, before Coinbase NFT drops.
There's so much venture capital. I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, I know.
So I think you're going to start seeing like gaming specific NFT marketplaces or influencer specific NFT marketplaces that collabs with influencers, or like a Hypebeast marketplace, or like all of these different. Reddit's doing a marketplace, NFT marketplace, which is going to probably do something with like forums and communities of some sort. So we're going to start seeing the unbundling of OpenSea come into place and see a bunch of competitors. OpenSea will probably maintain a lot of status for now, but I think Coinbase and FTX and all these people are going to get a lot.
I don't like FTX. I thought I had high hopes for it, but yeah.
I think the layer one trend is probably going to continue.
What do you mean by that?
The layer one battle. So this year we saw like Solana and Avalanche and
Cardano.
What's it now? Cardano's no. I think we'll start seeing some more layer ones pop up. Maybe even see some layer ones adopted by some small countries that want to get into the smart contract race. And
I'm more on the layer 2 side. You don't see layer 2s getting big?
I think layer 2s could get big. I think Ethereum still has a lot of work ahead of them.
Yeah, I would like to see these marketplaces integrate with L2s. I think that would be big.
Yeah, there are some games that are moving. I play Cuddle, which is on Arbitrum, which is pretty cool. Feel it like pretty much no fees. Outside of
this time next year, we shouldn't have to pay gas fees when we buy an NFT.
The gas fees on layer one are gonna continually get crazy.
This is nothing compared to you, but I spent $2,500 in gas fees.
Yeah, it's
like that
sucks.
No, to you, you're like, okay, that's nothing. But like saying that to someone random, burning 2.5K.
Yeah, it's a pain. We'll see what happens. I think it's going to be very credible, but I think once we come back and have this conversation again, recapping 2022. We're going to be talking about a lot of things that we didn't even know existed again.
Yeah, things might be completely different.
I think social tokens will probably heat up a little bit. I do think that's a 2023 play, though.
I do, too.
Something that I've been looking into for quite a while. Just not ready.
I remember you told me about that.
Just not ready. I was looking at them even last year a little bit. I'm just personally not ready for it. Still got some growth. Hopefully Nativ has partnered officially with the casino or consultation services so that we could get some NFT strategies rolled out for some of these casinos, or even just the broader ecosystem or Las Vegas, or I could finally announce some of the cool things that we're working on that Nativ can't talk about publicly yet. So that'll be sometime here in the future as well.
Yeah, I'm with you. I really didn't, I'm not going to talk too much about NFT Stadium because that's not my company. That's Miss Catherine's. I don't want to get fired. But I'm with you. I'm excited to see what you bring out next year. I think that, as you said, this year was completely different than last year. I was in a fucking Camp Gem, a blue teacher. I was confused on live. I had just smoked weed earlier that day. So this year, I came in 30 minutes late last time. This year, I came in. It's a little bit different. So I'm excited to see where we grow to next year. I'm excited to see. Hopefully, we can put out a project. Each of us, for Native, and that's my thing is I just want to get in the game. I don't care if I sell blank. I just want to get skin in the game.
Final question: is NFT Stadium a placeholder, or is it a medium term home or long term home for Sina Pahlevan?
Long term home for sure. I unless I get fired because I'm hard to work with, which is it's a possibility because I speak up, but they've really as I said, there's a lot of things I would like to say as well. That's just hard for me to keep my fucking mouth shut. That's actually the biggest things in my life. But all I'll say is that Miss Catherine and David, I was very skeptical of them because of their, they just sold, a 9-figure company earlier this year. They're fucking moguls and they're sharks. They did a lot for me, more than anybody in my life. And it's funny, I never would have expected that. So no matter what they think of me, they've earned my loyalty. For the start of my corporate career, I do not plan on leaving NFT Stadium. I got offered by a couple other companies a lot more money. And that says something. I literally had to turn down something that doubled my salary. And that's another thing I'm envious of you as is I do think I need more experience. I think you have more experience where you could be an entrepreneur. You said you don't want to work for anybody. I feel like I don't have that experience. I didn't, so this is kind of like my antique shop experience when I'm going through. So they've earned my loyalty. I'm going to try my best to be an asset to them. But who knows? Who knows where I know one thing though, I'll be honest, I'm loyal. I take pride in my loyalty. I don't give a fuck about my salary. My salary is great. But I have the mentality of my mentality is I'll make my money. I don't need to I'm here. I want to be part of a good team. And I really think this is the best team I've been on. My chief strategy officer, my partner in a way, but he's ahead of me. So I don't feel comfortable calling him my colleague, but he's the former president of Poker Go. He's 29 years old. You might know him. Chris might know him for sure, actually.
What's his name?
Samson Simmons. He's Ali Katz's brother. Ali Katz, do you know Ali Katz's?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, and Miss Catherine and David as well, and our community manager, Zach. So I'm going to try and build. This is my first time. I'm getting actual startup experience. We're in a position where we don't need to raise funds. So, whatever ideas comes to mind, Miss Catherine can pay out of pocket. That's a rare position. So the way I look at it is I'm at a front row seat. No matter where NFT Stadium goes, I'm watching a startup grow in front of me. And I'm honestly I'm taking notes because I'm telling you right now, I already have a team in mind. I have 10 people. I will start my own one day. If that's what you're asking at, it's going to be long-term. I'm loyal, but there's going to be a point in time in my life where I need to be the one. Yep. And this is my training academy.
Boom.
Sorry, that was way too long.
No, that's perfect. Where do I send all the listeners and followers who have made it this long to follow Sina and listen to Talk2Much Podcast, or maybe learn more about NFT Stadium?
Follow me on Twitter. You don't have to follow me, honestly. Follow Jake. Continue to support Jake. At this point, that's really what matters. I doubt maybe if someone's listening at this point though, Jake, you need to find out who that person is. Oh yeah, I'm done.
Comment below. No, give us your handles. What are your handles?
At Talk2Much_ETH on Twitter, and just Talk2Much on YouTube.
Hey, give them the follow, guys.
And Sina Pahlevan on LinkedIn.
Hey,
that's what I would like.
2021, man. What a fucking crazy, chaotic year.
I actually like this episode more than last year's.
Yeah, we're a little more polished now.
Yeah.
A little more polished.
I thought this comment maybe it was a little bit shorter.
I'll see you guys later.
Bye.